Hey everyone, this is Certified High Performance Coach Michelle Weimer here with you today. I want to thank you all for joining me here today. If you are just starting to follow along, I have been talking all month about how to set goals, achievable goals, how to reach your goals, how to stick with your resolutions, right? January is halfway through, and for many people, they've already given up. And to be quite honest, the majority of people give up on resolutions when they start them. But I want you to be a part of the minority that succeeds, which is why, of course, these last couple of weeks I have been giving tips on how to succeed at making your New Year's resolutions a reality for you this year. But I get that it seems simple in theory, and sometimes it can be tough. And there are many things that can trip you up and keep you from staying the course. So, I mean, if you think about it, gosh, there's a statistic that says less than 10% of people who set resolutions actually keep them. So that point right there proves that it can be tough to set resolutions and stick with them. But it is not impossible. And again, in addition to the tips I've been giving you on how to succeed, what I want to talk about today is what can get in your way, because it can be difficult, because things can come up, and because sometimes we just don't set ourselves up for success. So today, I want to conquer some of the most common pitfalls that can sabotage your success and keep you from sticking with your resolutions. And I'm going to use the example of creating a morning routine, because this is actually something that I have a couple clients who are working on creating a better morning routine and sticking with it, being consistent with it. And I myself have just recently revamped my morning routine a bit. So first pitfall, too many resolutions. Okay, trying to make too many changes all at once is a recipe for disaster, because you're more prone to get overwhelmed when you have too many things to change, and you give up when you get overwhelmed, right? People shut down when they get overwhelmed. So pick like 1 to 3 different transformations that are most important to you and start there. If you can stay focused and committed on just a few shifts, then you're going to be more likely to succeed and to stick with it. And if you do that, instead of trying to make too many changes all at once, then once you master those first few resolutions that you're trying to make, those first few shifts, then you can move into the next whatever your next goals are. And here's an added little tip when it comes to that. Look closely at what it is you're wanting to shift at change, and what you might find is that some things go together. So for example, in the idea of setting up a morning routine, maybe you want to incorporate meditation and exercise or reading, some kind of quiet time. These things can all work together, especially like meditation and exercise. They can go hand in hand. Number one, they are components of your overall goal, and they're also components of being healthy. So maybe you have this other goal that you want to get healthy. Well, they can work together. Your morning routine then becomes part of your new habits of being healthy, and they go together. Instead of feeling like a bunch of different goals, they can become one goal together. And then you can piggyback them off of each other. So as soon as you are, for example, done exercising, then you meditate, or maybe you meditate right before you get into your exercise. Something like that, so you pair things together, and then they don't seem as overwhelming. The next pitfall is making your goals too big. Now, I'm not saying that you can't have big goals, but if your goal's too big, it can get very overwhelming. And again, what happens when you're overwhelmed? You get frustrated, and you're more likely to give up. So if your goal is big, break it down. Break it down into smaller, more manageable goals. Just like I discussed last week with action steps, and if you missed that, you can go back and watch that video. But when you're focused on one goal at a time, and you make those manageable goals, then what you'll find is that you stay better motivated, because you're going to reach them in a shorter period of time. So they kind of become like milestones, in which, again, in thinking about how to set up a goal, you don't just set up, you have your goal, but you break it down and you have certain actions, you make it specific, and you have timelines. And along with those timelines, having milestones along the way as you reach small goals can really help you stay on track. It helps you stay motivated, and it keeps you from being overwhelmed. Next pitfall is a fear of failure. So let's just right now get the idea out of your head that you aren't going to mess up. I mean, it's going to happen, right? You're trying to make a big change in your life, so you're probably going to fall back into an old habit at some point. What you don't want to do is let that slip up, let that small failure or small, again, trip up or slip up, turn into a permanent thing. Somewhere along the lines, you are going to trip up. So what? Be aware of it. When you do it, acknowledge that it's not the way you want to be doing things. Make the shift back to the new behavior and keep going, keep moving forward. What happens too often is when someone slips up, then they give up. So don't let a setback set you off permanently. Next big pitfall, let old stories control you. When you let old stories control you, and it's like that, you hear that voice in your head reminding you of all of the reasons you can't do something. You let your old limiting beliefs get in the way, like saying things like, for example, using our morning routine, like, well, I'm just not good at meditation, or I've never been good at meditation, or I don't have time to exercise, I don't have time to read. Those are limiting beliefs that you've created from past experiences, from old stories, and they can turn into the thing that sabotages you in making the change. So get those old stories out of your head, get them under control, and create new truths for yourself. I have a part of what I talk about in the Achieve Success system is how to create truth statements. And it's a really important piece to moving forward and letting this year be the year, making this year the year that you actually succeed at the goals that you set and staying with the resolutions that you set for yourself. But it starts with not letting those old stories control you and creating new truths for yourself. Okay, next one. Not clear enough on your why. When you're not clear enough on your why, for why you want to make changes, it's hard to stay motivated, okay? Because it's easier to fall back into the old habits sometimes. So that being said, not all reasons are created equally, so you have to keep this in mind. When you identify your deep, meaningful why, that's really where the inspiration has more power, where it's more powerful than just this obligation of, well, I really should be doing this. I really should get healthy. I really need to get healthy. But why do you really want to? Like, dig in deep and say, I want to be able to, play with my kids and not be winded. I want to feel proud of myself. I want to be able to look myself in the mirror and have confidence. I want to, I want to be able to watch my children grow old, so I know that being healthy now is going to affect my future. Like, dig in deep and find the deep why, what your reasons are for wanting to make a change in your life. And I think you're going to be surprised at how powerful that shift can be for you and how much of a different effect it will have on your motivation. Then the next one is not getting the right kind of support. So let me just say this. If you don't have people surrounding you that can support you in what it is you're trying to achieve, then find people who can support you, whether you get into an online group or some other kind of a group, whether you get coaching, whether you get into a mastermind group. I mean, I have solutions for you. I can help you with that by all means. I would be more than happy to tell you about some things that I have in place right here. Like, I have groups online. Some of them are free, some of them are paid. Like, get into a group of people that can support you if you don't feel like you have that support at home, and make sure that you have the people around you that are going to help you achieve your goals. And I mean, you know what? Maybe it's even something like, again, if you want to stay healthy, but you're surrounded by friends who are not on that quest and they like to, eat junk food, drink too much, those kinds of things. I know right now not everybody's going to a lot of places, but, drinking, eating too much, eating out, those kinds of things, like they can sabotage what it is you're trying to do. So make sure the influence you have in your life and the people you're surrounding yourself with are positive. And if it is your friends, you don't have to get rid of all your old friends, but you be the influence to them. You get them to do something different. Hey, instead of going out, let's go for a hike or let's go for a walk. Like, there are other things that you can do together that can be beneficial to what it is you're trying to create. Last pitfall that I want to share with you today is not planning. As Winston Churchill said, he who fails to plan is planning to fail. So I think that pretty much says it all, right? You've got to have a plan. You've got to plan ahead. You've got to plan in detail. The more specific you are with your plan, the more prepared you'll be for anything that might otherwise derail you on your journey towards success. So, again, back to this morning routine. Get a plan. What time will you get up? How long is it going to take you to go through what it is you want to accomplish in your morning? If it is, I want to get up and meditate, how long are you going to meditate for? If you want to exercise, how long is your exercise program going to be? Like if you're going to somewhere to work out, if you're going out for a walk or a hike or a run, if you're doing something at home, a video, how long is it? If you want to make sure you're reading in the morning or doing some kind of affirmation, how long are those things going to take? Make sure you've planned that time into your day. Make sure you know how long those things are going to take. Have the book ready if you're reading. Know what your exercise routine is going to be, what your workout's going to be for that day. Have your clothes laid out. Plan. Prepare, and when you do those things and you have a plan for your success, you're going to be much more likely to stick with it. And again, just using the morning routine as an example today, what are your goals? What are your resolutions? I would love to hear from you, and I'd love to hear how you are setting yourself up for success. So be on the lookout for all of these tips, all of these pitfalls, and make sure that you're adjusting accordingly using some of these simple solutions that I've given you today. If you want to dive deeper into this, and if you want more key strategies for success, then please grab the Achieve Success System. I spent a lot of time creating that. It's very detailed in how you set up your goals, how you set up your action plan, and these types of pitfalls, how to overcome them, along with a few more things. So it's a really great tool for you to use, and I'll make sure that the link is here with today's videos, but basically it's michelleweimer.com/achieve success system, right? It's easy to remember. It's the name of the program. I'll make sure that's in here for you. And again, I want to thank you for joining me today. Until next week, this is Certified High Performance Coach Michelle Weimer. Bye for now.